Ramen Del Barrio has become a go-to destination for foodies looking for one of the more unique twists on the famed Japanese noodle dish, a remix with Mexican flavors. Now, whether you try the Carnitas or pozole, tonkotsu, the mole dipping noodles, even the Chilaquiles ramen, you will realize Ramen Del Barrio is less a fusion restaurant and more a menu of destiny. We have Chef Krinsky to thank for that. Oh, and he also makes one heck of a taco. You are here in Austin. I really think you are an actual, true destination restaurant.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually planning a trip to Japan myself at the end of the month, so I get to go back for some more inspiration and see how we can tweak things at the shop.
Well, that's pretty wild.
Yeah,
so,
good.
you know what? I'll just start off with the basics. Can you just tell people what Ramen Del Barrio is? I mean, and how you even came up with such a wild, ambitious concept of merging two very distinctive food cultures together.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as, how they're reflective of me, I grew up in Mexico for most of my life. My parents moved to Mexico when I was a young kid, so I kind of had like the inverse immigrant experience. I learned English at home and school in Mexico. And I came back to the States when I turned 18, and I landed here in Austin. I had never been to Texas before, but I ended up working in Japanese kitchens. So it's kind of like the marriage between like the cultural food that I grew up with, and then the professional discipline that I've had now as an adult chef. So
I want to say this: you're coming to Ramen Del Barrio for the very first time. I'm going to assume you've had Mexican food. I'm going to assume you've had ramen, but you've never had Ramen Del Barrio. What would you tell a first-timer to order, the very, very first time?
So this is a super easy answer for us, and it's one that we always talk about in the shop, and that's going to be the Carnitas Tonkotsu. The reason that dish is so emblematic of the concept itself isn't just for the fact that I personally think it's the most delicious bowl on the menu, but what it represents in the cultural balance sense. That is the bowl that comes closest to being this perfect fusion in the sense that it's respecting both cultures' elements and presenting them together in just one way that makes sense for everybody, right? So I love to say at the shop, like Carnitas and like Tonkotsu ramen are kind of the two culminations of what two great cuisines are doing with pork. So they naturally kind of have a place together. They're both very simple products in essence, but the level of complexity that you can take them to when going all out provides so much depth of flavor as well. So, you have this creamy pork broth, you have fatty, chopped up braised pork and organ meats and whatnot, and then you're basically just bringing it together. Rather than green onions for your allium, you have your white onion, cilantro, and lime. But all of these flavors are brought together not just for the simple purpose of taste, but meaning. So, in ramen structure, you have three components for your broth. You could have a tare, which is your seasoning. You have the actual stock itself. That could be your tonkotsu, or it could be a clear chicken broth, whatever the case be. Then you have an aromatic oil. So we're bringing this together in not just flavor ways, but also culturally significant technique.
Let's talk tacos because, I mean, and again, I think your ramen is outstanding, but one of the things that just blew me away and also says a lot about me is, of course, when I went to Ramen Del Barrio for the first time, I had to get a taco. Where did you get the idea to even do tacos? And you're doing something very unique. You're doing a skewer, the yakitori,
the yakitori or the kushiyaki. Yeah, so the tacos, we are combining that Japanese grilling technique. We have a binchotan grill back there on charcoal. And the idea is
that's a Japanese charcoal, right?
Yep. We first and foremost, we braise meats. They all tend to be really soft and tender because the end experience will be a customer gently pulling a skewer out.
Right.
Which means all of those meats need to be fall apart tender so that they don't risk tearing through the tortilla.
And that's true with all your tacos.
All of the tacos. So we have the braised pork belly, which is the pastor, right? We have the costilla now, which is a sous vide short rib. We have tripas. We have the mollejas, and then octopus as well, and mushrooms too. So lots of different choices there, but the general idea is that each skewer gets grilled and then lands on top of a really nice tortilla. Each one has like a different puree or like a sauce base. Then a salsa, the skewer goes down, and they all have like unique toppings as well. So like the pastor has Japanese curry pickles and then like charred diced pineapple on it. So you have this like fatty pork belly with an achiote marinade brushed onto the grill, caramelizes the marinade, and you have that acidic crunch from those vegetables and garnishes on top.
I also wanted to touch on this because not everyone knows this, but could you tell us what an izakaya is?
So an izakaya is essentially the Japanese definition of like a gastropub, right? Or like a tapas bar.
Right.
It's a place.
Small place.
It's a small place. I mean,
getting some drinks maybe.
Right. It's going to be a social eating and drinking experience. It's definitely like, you know, the salaryman back in Japan would probably like the salaryman's escape at the end of the day. A few skewers, a few beers with his coworkers.
Sure. Okay, last question for you. This is the hot tortilla take,
Okay.
Chris. Corn or flour?
Easily corn, but that doesn't mean that flour doesn't have its place, right?
Okay.
It's a more northern thing. It's a circumstantial thing, in my opinion. If
Okay.
you're in the northern states of Mexico or Tex-Mex land like we are, flour tortilla has a cultural place.
Okay.
But if you get a little further south of the border, you go towards Mexico City, it's going to be corn.
Chris, Ramen Del Barrio, easily one of my go-to restaurants in Austin, Texas. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
If you like watching these Best Eats Austin clips, you can see a whole lot more by downloading the KXAN Plus app for your smart TV, Roku, or Fire Stick. Go check it out and see all of our Best Eats Austin episodes and a whole lot more.